Where everybody at?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. I'm your host, Saheem the Dream.
Hey, man! I think you need to introduce me as the undisputed wrestling talks and thoughts debate champion of the world. Because goddamn, I was right. I was fucking right when everybody said no, no, no,
Here we go,
no.
Henry.
I was right. I was right. I was right.
Listen. All right, before we get into that, we thank you guys for joining us for another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. If you guys are joining us live, make sure you give us a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go to Facebook, join the group, drop some comments in the comment section below as we talk some wrestling. We're going to talk about CM Punk's return, Randy Orton's return, and just plans for CM Punk. We're going to have a short show before you guys. We're not going to be with you guys too long. Yeah, real quick, let's get into the hot topic of the night. As we get into that hot topic, Henduce would like to bask in his glory of being right.
hey, look
about CM Punk returning.
Hey,
I was definitely at odds about it.
Look, I want to thank all the little people. I want to thank Jay. I want to thank Amp. I mean, I had Sai believing a little bit. I had you believing. I had you believing in the debate. I had a great point. I had great points, which is why I told Travis that you don't get that victory yet until Survivor Series. Once his music plays, if his music doesn't play, you got it. I told him, you got it. And what happened at the last minute? The last second. Personality.
You always know something is up at a WWE pay-per-view, especially when there's rumors around somebody returning or a surprise, when you know the show ends at 11 o'clock and the main event ends at 10:48 or 10:45. If the main event ends at 10:48 or 10:45, and there's like a 12-minute, 10-minute time gap between that time and before the show completely ends, something's gonna happen. So when that little gap happened, when I seen that little gap, I was just like, I think he might return. So I think CM Punk might return. If CM Punk is not returning, then Randy's turning on Jay. Something's happening. And it was like 10 minutes. It was like 10 minutes left for the show. And the match was already over. And I was like, nah, these pay-per-views don't end like this. It's like been a few pay-per-views I've seen that end like that. But CM Punk comes out, and we were all surprised that CM Punk.
Keys and Trav were sick. I bet they were sick. I bet they was like, they knew. Look, they knew. I'm
gonna tell you right now. I'm conflicted. I am heavily conflicted. I am conflicted by CM Punk's return.
Yeah, I get it. I know. I understand. And I mean, hey, man. At the end of the day, he's there to make money. At the end of the day, that's what people got to understand. At the end of the day, hey, look, there's my other guy, man, that supported me with the CM Punk return. But at the end of the day, it's all about business, man. You know, I mean, what I was telling Trav, man, he doesn't care about the people that don't like him.
He don't.
And he doesn't care about the fans that don't like him. And let's start thinking about this now. Now these wrestlers, they don't care about the fans, man. I mean, the fans are the ones that brought him to the dance, but come on, at the end of the day, man, they gotta make a paycheck, and that's what AEW don't understand. At the end of the day, you're there to clock in and clock out, and that's a lot of mentality. Not even the old heads like our parents and their parents and their parents, they went to work when it was cold, when it was hot. They went there when they were mad at somebody, but they went there to get that money. And that's what it is. At the end of the day, the man draws, he brings asses to seats, you know,
Yeah.
and that's like what Hulk Hogan. I heard Hulk Hogan would do. He's like, I only do business if it's right, if it's gonna help me make more money, and that's all it is.
If you would draw, the funny thing about it is like if it's and it's not it's two things, right? If you would draw, and again, if you would draw to the house, right, and then also what works for your character. One thing about Hogan, one thing about Hogan I respect, and one thing that people overlook is that Hogan is not the only wrestler that protected his character on screen. He is not the only wrestler that did that. Roddy Piper did it. I can even bring current. I could be current with you right now. AJ Styles, his character is heavily protected. AJ Styles wins a lot. He wins. Why? Sometimes he wins, and it's like, why is he winning? But again, Hogan always protected his character because he knew he was a draw. He knew if his character was made to look weak at certain points that didn't make any sense for him being a household name and being a top draw, that it would only decline his stock as a top draw. It's like, why do that? Like, why decline my stock? Like, yeah, I know I'm winning. I know I'm winning this match, but it's like, and again, a lot of victories Hogan won. Most of the victories Hogan won, I agree with. It made sense to me. Like it was like, yeah, like you're bigger than Goldberg, you're bigger than Brock Lesnar. You're like 6'8", 300 and something pounds, and Shawn Michaels wants you to lose to him, and it's like, what? Like, I can understand, if you, it's like if Hogan decides to do it, I can understand, but if Hogan decides not to do it, makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, hold on. Explain why you feel Hogan should not have lost to Shawn. Let's get into that.
you said have not lost to Shawn?
Why? So you say you agree that when Hogan said he's not going to lose to Shawn, they don't have to go back and have a three series match where they each win one. So you say you agree with Hogan, just Shawn not beating Hogan at all.
So when Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan did that they were supposed to be doing that series match.
Right.
I felt like Hogan should have did it. I felt like Hogan should have did it because especially Hogan not being in his prime. But we're talking about prime Hogan. At that point, I felt like Hogan should have did it. But Hogan said he was having back issues, right? But in that instance, I kind of side with Hogan because this is the same guy who said he was having leg issues and he couldn't drop the belt to Bret a few years prior to that at a WrestleMania when he had beat Bret for a belt, said he had issues with his leg, and then didn't want to drop the belt to that following WrestleMania after he had won the belt where he lost his smile, right?
Right. I don't like Shawn.
Right, which was at some points not necessarily confirmed, but it was said that he had legitimate leg issues, and then the guy gets in a ring and does a backflip off the rope. I mean, come on, right? So, and Shawn could have been telling the truth, but Shawn could have been telling a lie. But however, Shawn was throwing gasoline on the fire. But in retrospect, that was Shawn getting his own karma. You know what I'm saying? But I think Hogan should have did it. But if we're talking about a prime Hogan, right? Like I give a better example, right? We're talking, but to answer the question, we're talking about a prime Hogan versus a prime Shawn. No. I definitely agree with Hogan's decision to go over on Shawn. When we look at Bret Hart coming back at that WrestleMania where he beats Yokozuna, right? After Bret Hart loses the belt to Yokozuna and Bret and Shawn Michaels and Hogan comes back, right? Hogan came back because Bret was not drawing money. That's a fact, right?
We agree.
They got Hogan back to draw. Hogan came out of retirement because Vince asked him to come out of retirement, win that match and draw. People gave heat to Hogan and said, "Oh, that's one of the worst WrestleMania pay-per-view, one of the worst WrestleMania endings, or one of the worst WrestleMania matches ever." I don't think it was the worst match. I think when you understand the dynamic of the match, the context of the match, it wasn't a bad match. It was just like Here comes the hero. Here comes the guy who draws the money to come back and bring back people to watch the show again. Like, you know what I mean? So when Brett wanted that match against Hogan for Hogan to put him over, when you look at it in retrospect, Hogan was right. Hogan felt like Brett wasn't the right guy to be on top, to be the main draw. And in my opinion, Brett is one of my favorite wrestlers. He's like one of my top 5 wrestlers. But as far as the draw, Brett wasn't the draw. Brett was not. That's a fact. That's a fact. Like Brett wasn't the draw.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And for Hogan not to put over Brett, Hogan could have did the favor for Brett. Okay. But again, Brett didn't prove his value. Okay, so Hogan not to put him over. However, Ultimate Warrior proved his value, which is why it was easier for Hogan to put him over. Goldberg proved his value, which was easier for Hogan to put over Goldberg.
But also back to what you said, protecting the character. Let's be honest, man. If you go, I guess Hogan was thinking of how I think about it. You're in a world heavyweight title match, and a guy is a light heavyweight, or a cruiserweight.
Right.
It's hard, but the way Bret Hart, I get it. He can, he technical. He's gonna break you down before he wins. But in those times in the 80s and the 90s, it was steroid mania. So somebody that's heavyweight, Hogan's gonna be like, okay, he can beat me, just like the Warrior, just like Goldberg. They were hot. They weren't mega hot like Hogan, or mega hot like Macho Man, but they were going up.
Yeah,
they were going up. That's why they didn't really last that long. If you notice, they were hot, but they weren't mega hot, like, So that's a protecting. You protect. Even Macho Man. Macho Man was probably lighter in the light section of the heavyweight, but steroid mania. He had to. It's just stuff that. Would you rather? Let's be honest. Now that we have indies, a lot of indie guys. Yeah. Would you rather? Like, probably Brock Lesnar protects his character, or Hogan at this time. Let's say Hogan is still here. Hogan would not let Daniel Bryanson beat him.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't.
No. All right, so we're kind of gearing off from the question. So here's my thing. So Shawn,
but I answered the question.
So you said no. You said you don't feel like Hogan should have lost to Shawn.
You talking about in that trilogy match? No, I answered the question. I said he should have given him one match. But if Hogan decided not to, I said because Hogan wasn't in his prime. If Hogan lost to Shawn at that time in that trilogy match, I'd be like, okay, it makes sense. Hogan's not in his prime. He's older. Fine. I would be okay with it. But the fact that Hogan decided on, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't feel like Hogan had to. I don't feel like Hogan had to.
But that's the thing, though. That
Hogan in his prime. So Shawn's beat Vader. He's beaten Sid, who's all the bigger guys, bigger than Hogan. And the fact of his finisher, he can catch you out of anywhere with it. I don't see why it wouldn't be believable for Shawn to have beaten Hogan in his prime.
This is what happened in the trilogy. This is what I think. And this is what I think. Hogan was iffy about that trilogy. I heard that he wanted to do it. I heard he didn't want to do it. I'm saying he's iffy. Shawn Michaels wanted to win first, which, that would make money. But if Hogan would have won first, if we'd have just let Hogan win and see how great of a match it was, like The Rock versus Hogan, how that showed up. They wanted to do a second one. They could have done the trilogy with the Hogan versus Rock, but they didn't. But with that, Shawn Michaels was unprofessional. You go out there, Hogan already, his character is protected. His character is already protected. Shawn just made himself look like a fool. Even though Shawn is the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time, but Shawn, he made himself a fool. Like, come on, man. Y'all could have made some good business right there.
Okay, so Jay. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Henry. They could have made great business. the thing is that I don't think Hogan. I don't even think in that instance Hogan was even trying to protect his character. Hogan said he had back issues at the time, right? That's the reason why he didn't continue it, right?
So from what I heard, Hogan
So-
said it didn't make sense to have the trilogy. Whether whoever won first, whoever was second. From what I heard, Hogan said it didn't make sense to have 3 matches. Just have one match, I win, and that's it.
Fine. Those are like rumors. Those are rumors I heard. That's rumors I heard. I heard like 2 rumors. I heard he had back issues, and he said that it makes sense to have a trilogy. Even if Hogan decided not to win, not to let Shawn go over, right? And you said, okay, Sid, Shawn beat Sid, Shawn beat Vader. The difference between Vader and Sid is that they're not Hogan. You're talking about Hogan, the guy who overcomes the odds. You're talking about the guy who overcomes the odds. You're talking about the last of his generation. And what I mean by the last of his generation, Hogan was the last of that generation of the superhero kind of a wrestler like a Bruno Sammartino, like a Bob Backlund, that when they put the belt on that guy, he was the man, like how we see Roman Reigns being carried out, or how he's being protected. That's who Hogan was. Hogan's cut from that cloth. Hogan is the last of that breed. Right now, we're seeing that kind of wrestler be reproduced in the likes of Gunther and Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying? Having these lengthy title reigns. So when you look at Sid, you look at Vader. These guys are not drawers. These guys are not major drawers. Every person that Hogan deliberately lost to, they had to at least be as hot as he was. Most of them, as hot as he was, or be a draw, or be the top, at least be the top guy. Even though Shawn Michaels was like one of the greatest in-ring performers at that time, Shawn Michaels was not labeled. He wasn't labeled the greatest of all time at that time. He was coming up on that place. A lot of people.
No, that was
he said what?
He was Mr. WrestleMania and all
that.
Yeah,
he was. He was
at the time he was calling himself Mr. WrestleMania. Hold on a second. Wait. Let's end this right now, right? Let's end this Mr. WrestleMania. There's only one Mr. WrestleMania. There's only one Mr. WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels got Mr. WrestleMania for what reason?
No, but who would be Mr. WrestleMania? Hulk Hogan?
Before I answer the question, hold on a second. Before I answer the question, Henry, why is Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania? Because he had an Iron Man match? Because he came from the rafters, dancing on the top of the rafters, and he jumped?
Nah.
Why is Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania?
Because all his matches on WrestleMania were 5 stars.
At Mania, other than Shawn.
You said what?
Who's had more 5-star matches, or who? You know what I'm saying, who 4 to 5-star matches in WrestleMania than Shawn?
Showstopper.
So 5-star matches,
like 5 stars.
So 5-star matches.
That rating wrestling matches is, it's just opinionized. But let's be honest. Who had let's say this, Jay. Who had great matches?
Right.
Shawn Michaels.
Right.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah. You could average it to 6 stars, 7 stars. But at the end of the day, you're watching a Shawn Michaels match. You're watching it with Ric Flair, against Ric Flair, even against Ric Flair.
Yeah,
right. It's funny. I was thinking that same thing. I'm like, he even dragged an old, about to retire Ric Flair to have a great match.
The classics with Undertaker, the classic with Stone Cold, Kurt.
Okay.
Bret Hart, even with Vince McMahon.
Okay.
So that's why we say he's the Mr. WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And I mean, who else he had?
Chris Jericho. Him and Jericho match was fire.
Yep. Him and Jericho. Yep.
Was good.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Jericho. The 2 matches he had with Undertaker. John Cena.
John Cena, yeah, that was great too.
Bret Hart.
Right, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out
who else. He had a match against Diesel at WrestleMania, which wasn't considered one of his best. His match against Razor Ramon, the ladder match.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, see, look. Out of
Uh,
all those, out of all them lists, what's the worst one he had was probably Diesel.
the one with Diesel. That's what people say. People say it was Diesel. In my opinion, it was all right match. It was all right match. It wasn't that
See,
bad to me. Um,
I'm trying to figure
it-
something.
okay, so but okay, so because he had great matches at WrestleMania, there's a lot.
That's
Okay,
that's what that's why.
but he ain't. He's not Mr. WrestleMania. He's
That,
not.
if you're trying to
He.
talk about, if you're trying to talk about Hulk
I'm
Hogan,
sorry. I'm sorry. Let me not say he's not Mr. WrestleMania because they gave him that moniker. It is what it is. I can't take it away from him.
no, but who do you
He's
think? No,
Mr.
no, I want to know who do you think?
It's Hogan
Why is it Hogan?
because that's what WrestleMania was built around.
But you,
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
you can't, because Sean had more he had more
Stop,
WrestleMania
stop.
than Hogan.
No. But
You said
what?
What?
He had
What
way
that?
more. He had more WrestleMania matches than Hogan.
That is
What
true.
does that mean? That doesn't mean anything.
But no, but what Sai is trying to say, Jay, Sai is trying to say is
There's no
WrestleMania
WrestleMania
was built around Hogan,
around
and that is
Hogan.
true. That is true.
Around Hogan.
That is true.
Yeah, you can I listen. I never said I said he's I said he's Mr. WrestleMania. You can't take that away from him because WWE said they gave him the moniker, right? Even when they gave him the moniker, I was like, Mr. WrestleMania. I'm like, how's he Mr. WrestleMania? I'm like, yo, but I feel again, this is what I to be truth is that a lot of things that should have there's some things that should have went to Hulk Hogan out of default because of his issues with Vince McMahon, his fallout with Vince McMahon, the steroid scandal, him going to WCW and revitalizing that promotion, and the steroid scandal, revitalizing it, the whatchamacallit, the promotion of WCW, and then also the whole thing with the steroids. I'm sorry, the whole thing with the controversy with the tape, with the racist tape.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff that should have went to Hogan out of default went to other people. Not because it was like Bruno Sammartino got a statue. How come Hogan didn't get a statue? Andre the Giant got a statue. How come Hogan sports and entertainment was built on Hogan. Like that, none of the idea of sports and entertainment came because of Hogan. Because Hogan was in Rocky 3. We know the whole story of Hulkamania.
I get you.
Vince McMahon built WrestleMania around Hogan because of Hogan's star power. That's what launched WrestleMania. There's no the first big moment of WrestleMania was when Hogan slammed Andre the Giant. Okay. The first time you ever seen two major baby faces face off was Hogan against Ultimate Warrior. You could kind of say him and Macho Man because Macho Man was still a fan favorite, even though Macho Man played the heel. But then, legitimately, it was him and Warrior.
You could also say the same thing with The Rock versus him. Because they both turn face.
The 3 WrestleMania moments that Hogan had.
No, but
no, you keep counting moments. No, listen, wait.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mania was created around Hogan around that time, and Mr. T and all that other good stuff. I get that. You know what I'm saying? Because they actually propelled wrestling into mainstream. But at the same time, it started because of you, but you needed the other guys to pick it up.
I mean, that is true. I mean, both have.
No, you do. No, I'm not. Listen, this is my thing, right? This is my thing about certain performers who don't get their due. It's you do need Hogan can't perform until he's Hogan can't be 80 years old in the ring. I mean, unless you're Ric Flair, right? Sorry, you can if you want to. If you want to be Ric Flair
or Vince McMahon.
But of course he did. That's true. He did. But again, it was other. Yeah, there's always going to be somebody that's going to always take it to the next level. That's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, the level that Bruno Sammartino couldn't take wrestling to, Hogan was able to take it to that level. Hogan was able
that's
to
different eras, though. That's different eras, though.
It is different eras, but nonetheless, it's still something that was still something that was done that Bruno couldn't do.
But at the same time, it's at the same time is where Hogan took it. He took it to the peak. Where Hogan took it, and he tried to take it with WCW, Stone Cold overtook that.
Right.
The same way. And back. Now I'm glad
No,
we're
he
going
didn't.
through here. We're going through here.
He said, wait. He said, what did Hogan? What did Austin do that Hogan didn't do already?
He overtook it. It's a difference. Stone Cold is a character. His character took it to the where it's like, yo, it's cool to watch wrestling. Not the NWO was like, oh, it's the bad guys, but Stone Cold took it to be like, oh, okay, I could be this guy, and like you said, it was a different superhero era. Hulk Hogan had the superhero era. Stone Cold had the badass era.
Right. And then to your point, like Henry said, it's two different eras because think about it now. Okay, yeah, Hogan and Warrior had star power and they had big draws, but if you think about it, they had two of the worst finishes in history of wrestling.
Who?
Warrior and Hogan.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
The big splash and the atomic leg drop.
Even Hogan said he was like, yo, I got these 24-inch pythons, but my finisher is a leg drop. You know what I'm saying? So imagine now you got two guys. I can't even think of two guys with horrible finishes, but imagine two guys with the worst finishes right now. Despite of how big their draw is, you think that people really gonna be like, oh yeah, this is a WrestleMania main event?
Yeah.
You know what's the best.
But hold on a second, real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, Henry. Austin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Austin increased ratings. People started watching wrestling again because Hogan turned heel. When Hogan left WWE and went to WCW, wrestling on itself was at a decline, right?
Okay.
All together.
Okay. All right. I'll counter that.
Why? Wait, hold on. Wait. It's documented. Like this is in documentary.
Okay.
When Hogan went to WCW and he was there, Hogan went over to WCW. The ratings increased a little bit more. Then then it increased a little bit more in WCW, but not so much to where it was beating WWE. Right when he turned heel and the whole NWO situation started. That's when the ratings started going up. That's why they call it the Monday Night Wars, because more people started watching wrestling because Hogan turned heel. What happened was, and at that time, Austin was on the rise. Austin already had the belt. Austin was hot. NWO was hot. More people were watching WCW than they were watching WWF.
That's when I want to count. That's what I'm saying. To counter right now.
People started turning over back to WWF because they got back. Hold on. Wait. Hold on a second. Wait. No. Hold on a second. Wait. They went back over to WWF because they got pulled in by who?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, it wasn't Stone Cold.
Who?
It was Hogan. Hogan brought people back.
Okay,
to WWE?
Because
to WWE?
Yes, that's a
okay.
Bro, it's a fact.
So look.
Huh? Yeah.
So look,
Jay. Every time I used to come to your crib, what was we watching?
We was watching both, honestly. I mean, yeah, we watched.
Exactly.
But
right.
Now, but you said that more people started watching wrestling. Now, was it more people started watching wrestling? Or was it more so wrestling fans were more excited because this is a different Hogan? Because people who wasn't watching wrestling because Hogan turned heel. You know what I'm saying? Us wrestling fans were like, oh, shoot. You know what I'm saying? We never seen this super, you know what I'm saying? This superhero, now he's a bad guy. Yes. So wrestling fans, we watched it because we were like, oh, shoot, it's different. We're excited. But I'm not saying, but I wouldn't say the average person who doesn't watch wrestling at all started watching it because Hogan's heel.
So some people started watching people who were not avid wrestling, people who were not avid watchers. I'm sorry, Henry. People who were not avid watchers started watching wrestling more because Hogan did. That's a fact. That's why we have ratings. The Nielsen rating system is the judge, or like they take the Nielsen rating system. They take these little chips or whatever, put them in the back of your TV of a certain amount of people's houses, and determine based on a certain amount of people who's watching TV, like what they're watching, to determine ratings and give like a what you call it, like a summary of how many people are watching based on the ratings. more people started watching. More people started watching, and when Hogan turned heel,
So okay,
that's why when the Attitude Era, that's when the Attitude Era ended, or when it stopped, it declined. When they stopped seeing Austin, they stopped seeing The Rock, they stopped seeing certain people. It went down. That shows you how many people were like, and then when it stabilized, those are the true fans. But everybody else who dipped off were people who were fans or people who were newcomers to wrestling, because ratings increased because more people who weren't watching wrestling started watching wrestling.
Okay, so here's what I differ. I honestly feel, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I feel that more average people, not wrestling fans, more average people watched Austin in his rise over Hogan turning heel. And the reason I say that is because for the first time in wrestling, you have a guy that's going at it every week with his boss, where people, the working people, wanted to do that in real life. So they were living vicariously through Austin. Like, y'all get to talk to my boss, I get to punch him in his face, stun him, and do whatever I want, and he can't control me. That aspect
Badass.
of it is exciting and different for people. So that's why I say that actually brought more casual people to watch wrestling over than Hogan turning heel.
Okay, so why was there a Monday Night Raw?
So this is Monday Night Wars because of us wrestling fans. I'm not saying that the Hogan turning heel didn't spark an excitement, or it didn't, you know what I'm saying, draw money or draw attention. I'm not saying that. But you're saying the average Joe started watching wrestling because Hogan turned heel. And I'm saying the average Joe who really probably didn't watch wrestling started watching wrestling because of Austin and how he was. And you got any regular person, a lot of people who say, yo, I used to watch wrestling. Oh, they'd never say I used to watch wrestling when Hogan was in NWO. They'll say I started watching wrestling when I started watching wrestling. You know, I started watching wrestling because Stone Cold and The Rock, mainly Stone Cold, and I stopped watching it because they started wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So that moment actually brought that whole era brought more people to watch, more average people to watch wrestling over Hogan turning heel. Okay. Now NWO was hot. A lot of people like NWO.
But also. Hold on, man. Hold on. Let me just say this one real quick.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you fine. Also, like you said, man, Attitude Era was because of Stone Cold doing Attitude Era. Another thing is, like I said, if you were right, why did everybody? Because NWO was still hot when Stone Cold Steve Austin was still hot. So why did everybody start deciding to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin and NWO?
Well, that's when NWO was going on a decline. That's when they were at the peak. No, because you had what's his name? Dennis Rodman. You had them all coming when Stone Cold Steve Austin won his first title. At the peak, that's why it was called the Monday Night Wars.
I know, but at the peak, but that's what I'm saying. But at the peak, Austin was still. It helped. Austin won that battle because Austin. At the peak, where NWO, when Stone Cold Steve Austin won his first title, yes, it was when he first won the title. NWO was still strong. NWO went down when the Wolfpack started. Let's be honest. When they split, it went down with the Wolfpack, and that was already in 19. That was already past Stone Cold Steve Austin's first reign. He was probably his third reign.
The Monday Night Wars lasted for like 3 years. I think it was like 3 years or 2 years and a half. But it was called the Monday Night Wars because all right, so when they lost, this is documented like in the worst Monday Night Wars. When WCW started to experience decline in ratings was when Tony Schiavone in WCW told everybody, hey, he was like, and this is when WCW was beating them. He was like, so we got some news that Mick Foley's supposed to be winning a world championship tonight. They was like, let's see if that puts some butts in seats. And actually what happened was people started turning over to WCW.
That is true.
So at that time, this is when Austin already.
Yeah, that is true.
WCW was beating them.
Yeah, that is true.
This is the thing. Hold on a second, Jake. This is the thing. This is how you know. Again, this is a fact. Like the wrestling was at a decline wrestling was at a decline when Brett and Shawn were champions. Wrestling was at a decline when Hogan was in WCW and he was a baby face. Wrestling was at a decline when he turned heel. The ratings start to increase. People started watching. That's when they got WWE got over the hump when
But also,
Hogan turned heel.
oh no,
That's
no,
when
let
that's
me.
when that's when wrestling that's when wrestling as a whole got over the hump. Then the other thing, I could definitely say the added factor was when when Austin had his feud with Mike Tyson. But again, more people were still watching WCW than they were watching WWE.
No, I got you. No, I got you. No, I got it. Yeah. You were right. You were right. You're right about that. You're right about that. When they said about McFoley winning it, but
Mhm.
guess who helped McFoley win that title? The glass shatter and boom, here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin walking like a badass, like
Okay.
you know, stunning his boss, and then boom. That's what I'm saying. Stone Cold took it to that level. Took it to that level. Oh, it's cool. It's cool. Took it to that level. Oh, it's cool. Hogan still had that. Hogan was cool. I get it, but Hogan still had that wrestling mentality. He didn't have that attitude. Like he didn't have like, oh shit, we can cuss. Like you you
Right. But
you.
but again, as I say numerous times on this show, the downfall that nobody talks about with WCW when they made it convenient for us to watch both. When WCW aired Nitro from 8 to 10, and then aired it again from 10 to 12, it made us as wrestling fans, especially me, able to watch the first hour of Nitro. You know what I'm saying? Then I watch Raw because Raw's live. And once Raw goes up at 11, I pick up on Nitro where I left off at 8 o'clock. So now watching the replay of Nitro. So that took away a lot of their live viewership. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we were still watching it, but they go based off live numbers. You know what I'm saying? So that within now, if you didn't put Nitro on right after Nitro went off, you know what I'm saying? Then you're forced to either make a choice. Either I'm gonna watch Nitro or I'm gonna watch Raw. But
Hey, why is Key trying to compete with our
That's
live,
definitely
man?
true.
cool.
Why is Key trying to compete with our live, man?
Nah, he's doing his live, man. He ain't got time to be with us.
He's trying to compete with our lives at the same time, man. That's crazy, Keys. That's crazy, man. Just because you're wrong, man, it doesn't mean you have to
Don't worry
leave,
about that.
man. Just you're wrong. But back to that, what I was gonna say is no. I just think Stone Cold, to my opinion, he took it a little bit to the notch. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, side. But also thinking about that is, want to talk. I want to go back to talking about the CM Punk. Um, people,
Right.
I want a lot of people to give. I mean, yeah, CM Punk is a cancer. Yeah, I don't really like his in ring, but he does give some good matches back in the day. His in ring, I'm not a big fan. His promos, I am. Um, but I do want to give respect to him, if to him, that people that are hating on him right now, which are like the ones that like indie. He was the
Okay.
first indie wrestler to win in WWE like that.
Right. And again, I also feel too, as I made the reference to the ex girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Punk was bitter and he really, really wanted to go back to WWE a long time ago, but it was just his bitterness and his hatred for how everything played out. It was like, all right, well, I can't go back. I can't go back. So I'm just going to continue to bash him. You know what I'm saying? To make myself feel good. And the fact that he got, let's say he got the call to come back, or he had the opportunity to go back. Now it's like, okay, I get to get back to my ex girlfriend, the person I love, that I let get away. Now I got her back. Now I can, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm happy again because as he said, I'm home, and he was like, it's not CM Punk wise, and it wasn't. We've never heard CM Punk say anything like, oh, I'm home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when he went to AEW, his promo, he bashed WWE, and he was like, yeah, now I'm in a place where pro wrestlers where pro wrestling is glorified. You know what I'm saying? Now he's back in entertainment, and again, like you know what I'm saying, Punk's older, so now the entertainment value of it would help him. You know, see now he can entertain other than try to be a wrestler or try to compete with the indie style that AEW has. You know what I'm saying? Because WWE puts on shows. You know what I'm saying? So
You know what's funny though? I'm conflicted because I still have some questions to ask you guys because I'm conflicted. The funny thing is, you mentioned something about competing with like WWE. The funny thing is he probably could have drew the right amount of money and the right kind of crowd had everything worked out if he was a lot more mature. Because even him saying it in the media scrum, like when he went in on Cocabana and the EVPs, he said, for these guys to mess up the biggest house draw that we've had since AEW's been around, the biggest house draw, and that was the biggest house draw they've had, right, with Punk headlining as champion or whatever. And again he had some ability to draw, like to draw. And the sad part about it was because he was so immature about his approach to that situation. That's one thing about Punk. He allows his emotions to get in the way of some of his decision making. I don't think he does it all the time, but I think when he feels like he's completely right about something and he want to call somebody out on their BS, that's one thing I always liked about him, was that he was a straight dude. But the thing that bothered me about Punk was like, yo, listen, like you got to pick and choose your battles, and then sometimes you can't always be right. Like sometimes when some people are wrong, you got to let them be wrong and just let it go. You gotta let it go, because the biggest problem with that situation with Punk was that, bro, and it's so wild. It's wild because I thought about this and I was like, yo, he just like try to humiliate the EVPs, and these are the guys the EVPs are the reason why you even had a job in the first place. They're the reason why AEW is AEW.
right, but you also got to look at it from this aspect too. In Punk's eyes, he's the biggest star than everybody in AEW.
And that is true. It is true. It is true. Him
Yeah,
and
but
Brian Danielson were the number ones.
Right. So if you
okay,
got a mentality like, yo, I'm a bigger star than all of y'all need to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? But then
Yeah.
you guys like, yo, who are you? You know what I'm saying? We built this foundation and we allowed you to come here and make money, but now you think you're better than us. So that's where a lot of the button heads came in. You know what I'm saying? And
That
then
that
well,
CM Punk reminds me of Jordan Poole in the Wizards right now. He's talking about this is my team, this is my team, and he's sucking. And
listen,
let's be honest. CM Punk's matches at AEW were not that great.
because he had to actually perform. There was nothing. They didn't have anybody to like help him perform and to like. I honestly, and I'm going on record and say this: once CM Punk fights Seth Rollins, that's going to be better than any match that CM Punk had in AEW because Rollins is a performer. You know what I'm saying? Punk didn't really wrestle performers like that in AEW. You know what I'm saying? Outside of maybe Adam Page. But everybody else he wrestled was wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? And that makes a huge difference from somebody who's been away from the business at that time. What was 5, 6 years, 7 years?
I mean, I think you guys are a little hard on CM Punk's performance against other
I mean,
performers. That's just my.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're
But
right. You're probably right.
but
You're
let me
probably
say
right.
it. Let me say this though. I want to say this though. There's no iron team.
No,
There's no iron team. So even from Punk's perspective, and I understand from Punk's perspective, he's like, yo, I'm a bigger star. I have the drawing power. I'm the guy that's been missing for so long that everybody wants to see me in the ring. Me coming back will be a great draw. Yeah, 100%. I'm with Punk on that, 100%. But on the other hand, the table that was created so that you can eat was created by those guys.
yeah, that's true.
If they didn't make that table, you'll still be at home in your feelings with a grudge against WWE,
Right.
waiting for hell to freeze over until that opportunity came for you to come back. Because if there was no AEW, he would still be at home, and then we would probably have possibly gotten Punk back around this time where Vince McMahon gets his exit. You know what I'm saying?
So
But my point is that there's no iron team. If they would have, my thing was Punk was supposed to be the more mature one, and whatever he said at that media scrum, he should have said a little bit more mature and said and had a meeting with him, the EVPs, and Tony Khan to talk about whatever was said out in public and say, yo, listen, blah, blah, and address it that way. Because again, this is about handling business. This is not about handling personal feelings.
No, that's true. But that's the thing also. That's the thing also.
Personal and business
do not mix. Yeah,
Right.
but that's also the thing though. Also the thing about it, my bad, Jade. Also the thing is that, man, the EPs, the EVPs, and the VP and the CEO or whoever Tony is, he should have been, look, let's talk about this. Like what did Triple H does and what damn, I always forget his name. Nick Khan. What does Nick Khan do? You know, these are the rules. This is what you got to do. You know, they talk about it before the reaction, what they did about it. Colt Cabana, they knew that man was beefing with Colt Cabana. They could have set him down, talked about it. Look, this is what we're gonna do for the team. This is what it is. Adam Page didn't have to say all that shit. They didn't have to say all that shit to him. He went off script. Everybody in AEW do that, which is not great. It's a cheap pop. Same thing as getting blood is a cheap pop, but they should have fixed it up. I'm not defending CM Punk because I don't know if he is fault or not, but I'm just saying, like, I get where CM Punk is, but I also get with like why people don't like him. Like you said, CM Punk talks his stuff. He's not afraid to say what he doesn't like. You know, he takes the ball and goes home. And that's okay. That's fine. I understand that. But at the same time, AEW is not structured to, you know, to solve problems. You know, it's like buying. This is what they do. It's like a basketball team. They get a star and thinking that's going to be the solution. Like James Harden, they thought the Clippers is going to be the solution.
Right. Exactly.
You know, it's not the solution. The solution is you got to fix your core, and they didn't have a core. They don't have a core. It's like what everybody says. AEW just seems like a bigger indie wrestling industry.
So here's my quick point. So point number one, the EVPs, all EVPs in AEW are wrestlers, right?
Okay.
So they don't have they have. I'm not knocking their business mindset, but their main priority is making sure AEW is good and making sure that their careers are good. You know what I'm saying? That's their priority. They're not gonna look at it like, okay, well, Punk has an issue with Colt Cabana, so let's sit them down. They're not worried about that. They're like, yo, we want to make sure that everything on our end is good. You know what I'm saying? And that's their main focus and priority. Now, outside of that, you know what I'm saying, you have what was my point? Okay, so now my other point was even going back to how Henry says, when Henry says that, you know what I'm saying, Punk is a draw, right? So Punk has an ego like, all right, well, you guys had 20,000 people in the fans coming to your live event. I'm here now. I done brought an additional 20,000 people just because of who I am and my name. You know what I'm saying? So that ego right there was like, yo, y'all are good, but y'all are where y'all are because of me. You know what I'm saying? And then it can further add to his ego because once he left, AEW's attendance has never been an issue or a question until after Punk left. You know what I'm saying? Now they're showing pictures and everything on social media where half the arena is empty. You know what I'm saying? Where they're hiding the fact that they're saying it's sold out, but they're really not. They're lying about numbers. You know what I'm saying? So for Punk, in Punk's mind, he was like, yo, I'm the reason why y'all selling out, why y'all got all these fans. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I understand y'all had this before me, but I came and I brought more clout. I mean, I brought more fans and more people to your product. So you guys need to respect me.
No, and I get it. I mean, I get it. I think. No, I get it. I 100% like saying. I agree. Like, yo, listen, and that's his value. That's his stock. CM Punk, and that's why I agree with him. Like, yo, listen, yeah, man. Like, yo, you brought value to the company. You were added value brought to the company. But again, AEW did struggle with fans. But again, they still have a good ratings. They still draw a good 600 to 700,000 people. maximum was like 700, 800,000. I think the most they ever drew was when Punk showed up and when he returned, which was like 1 million viewers. I think
Exactly.
like 1.3.
But they always break even though. They always break even. So that means it's like it's not a needle move. They always break even. They're like they get
Right.
to the ratings where it's like when WWE was breaking even those times where when it went to PG. When it went to PG before the Shield,
Right.
it broke even. It broke
Broke
even.
even, right. It was right, exactly. Like there was no like real needle movement until CM Punk and the funny thing about it is until CM Punk returned, and it was like two dynamite shows where the ratings was like over 1 million, and then after that, like literally like 400 and something thousand people left again, and they jumped right back to WWE or went back to whatever shows where they were watching because those 2 nights they had 1 million viewers. Then all of a sudden 400,000 people left, and those 400,000 like it dropped. Like I mean, it dramatically dipped. And then even though CM Punk was still there, the ratings was like still stayed at breaking even. It was like 600,000, 700,000. It was like all right, so they wasn't maintaining 1 million views after that return. After those 2 days of his return, then moving on when they had that big draw at that pay-per-view, that was their first big house draw. And then their second big house draw was when they did Wembley Stadium, right? So CM Punk has a legitimate argument, 100% that he is a draw. But the thing is that again, it's just like, yo, like, yeah, you're a draw, but you're a draw to a company that we built because again, even if CM Punk leaves, it's still going to be a. And again, what's the point of? It's like what's a stage without an MC? Like if I don't have a mic and I don't have a stage to perform and rap, what's the point of? There's nobody can hear me. It's like does a tree make a noise in the woods if nobody's there to hear it? You know what I'm saying? Like if nobody's there to watch this, to hear this tree fall, did the tree really fall? Did it make a noise? You know what I'm saying? Does anybody care? So it's like if CM Punk don't have a stage to perform on, his drawing power means nothing. He's totally out of his element.
Right.
Yeah.
And Triple H said it too. Triple H said, "What's your pipe bomb without a microphone and nobody understands to hear it?"
That's true.
Right. So even Triple H understands. Like, listen, and even Triple H, and it's so funny because Triple H said this. He was like, we were different. Like who we were 10 years ago was who we were 10 years ago. And he was like, 10 years have passed. He said, if none of us have changed, then that's a severe problem. And it was so interesting. He made that statement. He makes that comment because he's pretty much trying to say and let everybody know, like if CM Punk is the same guy that came from AEW with that BS and he comes to WWE with it, he's getting fired.
Not even that. If he's the same guy he was 10 years ago who walked out on the company, you know what I'm saying? Who was crying, complaining about everything.
He's done.
But also, you gotta understand Triple H at that time, 10 years ago, at that time, 11 years ago, Triple H was not the COO. He was, his main was still a wrestler. So he still wanted his money. He still wanted his time.
No, he was the COO.
Yeah, but he was more character wise. I'm talking about like he was starting to retire. He was starting to now that he has more, like that was before he had NXT under his wings. Now that he sees NXT under his wing, he thinks about it as a promoter, not as a wrestler. He's a promoter now, so he's thinking, all right, 10 years later, Vince did all this. He saw Vince what he did. He had it right. See, Triple H never because if you hear the story, Vince McMahon was crying. He wanted CM Punk to stay. Triple H didn't give a fuck. Triple H was like, man, this little scrawny guy.
Yeah.
What are you crying about? This little scrawny guy. He ain't a draw. I'm a better wrestler than him. He calls himself the. That's what I'm saying. Like Triple H was thinking that back then, because he said it the same thing. Triple H would say when John Cena's first title reign, he would say John Cena sucks. John now he's calling John Cena one of the GOATs because he saw the draw power. He saw. That's what I'm saying. Like
John Cena does suck. His first title reign did suck. It was trash.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying that he was saying that.
That's true. He was trash.
You know what I'm saying? That's what he was saying. But he was a draw. He was still a draw. He was still drawing. He sucked, but he was still drawing. Just saying, like, it's the
Well,
promoter. That's what I say. But at the same time, what y'all said is the same thing. Is that you know, Punk does one dumb thing. Where is he gonna go now? You know what I'm saying?
TNA.
He's probably ran out of money, to be honest. That's why he went back to AEW.
I mean, he go to TNA.
I mean, that's his last. Yeah, that's the last stand.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
Punk was saving right. Punk was in AEW, so he probably signed a contract for like. Well, they said he got some good money. I don't know if he got like a super max deal where he was like getting paid like $5 million. I know like the highest contract a wrestler was getting paid that I know of in WWE was like, was it John Cena had? I think John Cena at one point was getting paid like $5 million. I think the highest was like Brock. Brock was getting paid like $6 million a year to perform, plus merchandising. So he was making at least probably like $10 million a year. But um, but yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm really conflicted about.
no, I get it.
I'm really conflicted about Triple H about CM Punk's return, because this is the same guy, you know, who said some things and put his foot right in his mouth.
Yeah.
And people like that worry me. I understand, like, people, like, we make mistakes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all make mistakes, we're all human. But then there's one thing where you're a person who like feels like they're right, like you feel like your righteousness is it. And I mean, what I mean by your righteousness, it's like you have this thing where you're trying to call out things for being wrong and for people being wrong, but then you yourself as a person at the same time do something wrong and then feel like you're justified in your wrongdoing. And it's just like you're supposed to be the person that wants people to set a certain type of example, and then you turn around and set the total opposite example. You know what I'm saying? And act like your wrongdoing should not be analyzed either. Because what he did at the media scrum was immature. When he did that, like if he's a true businessman, what he did at the media scrum, it was immature. Like there's no way, because Vince would have never let nobody do that.
Yeah,
if they would have did it, well, wait, hold on a second. If they would have did it, they would have got punished. The other thing about that is when it came to what's the guy, Jungle Boy, he goes up and he says, if anybody has a problem with Jungle Boy, then they're the problem. That in itself, and then he turns around and has the problem with Jungle Boy.
But the thing is, like you just said, Vince would have never allowed that. So being that, and again, everybody goes based off of who your leader or who your owner is. So if you feel like you can overwork, or you can overtalk, or you can do whatever you want to your owner because you're the better person, you're gonna. You know what I'm saying your leader, manager, or whoever, he has to step in. And that's even with today's job. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you go to work and you know your manager's soft and he's a pushover, and he said, "Yo, Si, you can't wear your hat at work." You're gonna be like, "All right." Then you're gonna wear your hat because you know he's not gonna suspend you. He's not gonna do anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know if you got a manager that's like, "Yo, don't wear that hat," you know what I'm saying? And you know if you wear your hat the next day, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get in trouble. You're not gonna wear your hat. You know what I'm saying? So again, Punk looked at Tony Khan and like, okay, you're my manager, or you're the boss, but you're weak. You know what I'm saying? You can tell me one thing, but
you're a mark. That's what he saw. He saw TK as a mark.
Yeah, he's like, I do what I want. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, you're just getting into this wrestling business. You was a fan of me,
right?
Yeah,
but also side. We've been used to this, man. What CM Punk is? We've been used to this. What CM Punk is doing is called politics. We hear this shit. We hear this shit with the mayors, presidents, everything. They promised us, oh, we're not gonna do it like this. The next thing they voted in the damn house, they doing the same thing the other dude was doing.
That's true. And I give you another example. Like I said, I personally feel Punk's mindset is different and he's more humble. And I give you another example of that. Allen Iverson, right? When Iverson
practice,
he was a man, right? And he went to, I think it was Memphis or one team. They was like, "Yo, we need you to come off the bench." He was like, "Come off the bench? What former MVP, come off the bench?" And he went off, and he was like, "I refuse to come off the bench." And they was like, "All right, well, if you're not willing to come off the bench, then we don't need you." You know what I'm saying? So he was out of the league, and then he became humble, like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to help the team or whatever like that. And he was willing to come off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Even Carmelo Anthony is another one. Carmelo was, you know what I'm saying, he refused to come off the bench. He would not do any, you know what I'm saying? But now you know what I'm saying, you go to another team, and then you out of the league for like 3 years because nobody wants to sign you. So now you're willing to do whatever you gotta do just to stay in the league. You know what I'm saying? If you need me to come off the bench, fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm mellow. But you know what? I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. Just have the opportunity to be where I want to be.
And also, I like I said, he might be humble. Like people ought to say his promo was weak, his promo was mid. What it was not mid. I mean, I won't say it was good. I won't say it was bad. I won't say it was mid because the thing why I won't say it was mid is because what was your expectation? Y'all wanted him to just bash. Y'all wanted him to confirm what was going on with Seth. You know, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He talked to the fans. That's all he has to do.
You actually that quote that you put up, Henry, because that actually puts everything in perspective.
Exactly.
It's true. Because
and then Trav was saying in the chat that this ain't Punk. This ain't Punk. This man's probably started watching wrestling in 2015 when Punk left. But Punk's been like that. His promo's always been like that. His PG promo's always been like that. So that's what I'm saying. So that's the thing about with the thing with Travis. He says, Punk is not himself. He's not himself. He doesn't want to be there. No, Punk just knows what he has to do at WWE. Right. Punk was there for 10 years in WWE.
And I think honestly,
he know what's up.
AEW in fraction, I think they may have mentioned AEW 2 to 3 times, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't really.
Wait, I don't even think Punk never mentioned AEW in his promo.
He didn't.
He didn't.
That's what it was. Like Henry said, everybody was expecting him to bash AEW and stuff like that. But WWE, they don't focus on AEW. You know what I'm saying? They don't mention it. Like I think the only references that ever came up of AEW was when I think when Sami Zayn had his open mic and they asked him anything, he was like, "Oh, you guys ask me anything, you can ask about AEW." Woo. And you know what I'm saying? And then when the Miz and Edge had that feud, and Edge told Miz, he's like, "Yo, you got guys on other promotions referencing you." You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only time that I can think of that AEW's ever mentioned. Where on the flip side, AEW mentions WWE like every other week, and like the quote, I mean, like the post that Henry put, like, yeah, you talk WWE every week, but that's not moving the needle for you. That's not boosting your ratings at all. You're getting a pop.
It's not. But I think. Yeah, I mean, it's not. The other thing is that I believe that because I believe that before Punk even went out there, it was like, listen, Triple H or whoever was like, and Gorilla was like, listen, don't go out there talking about. You can go out there, you can speak to the crowd. You already know. Don't mention AEW. Whatever happened over there, happened over there. You leave that in the past. If you want to say anything subliminal, you can say something subliminally, but don't mention the company. Don't bring whatever happened over there. Over here, you're in a new place. It's a new time. It's a new day. Whatever happened in the past with AEW was in the past. Whatever happened with us in the past is in the past. It's a fresh start. Promotion. Vince is not here anymore to hold back any other stars or move forward.
I think Triple H said.
The funny thing is that's what he needs. He needs somebody to tell him to move forward. Like, yo, bro, you saying what needs to be said at certain times is like, yeah, but it's like, bro, right now you're looking like a bitter old man. Like it's sad. It's almost like Brett. It's almost like every time I hear Brett talk about certain things, I'm like, Brett, move on, bro. Like,
Brett still a lot of wrestlers to this day, and I'm like, bro, like they're not thinking about you at all, but yet you still have a strong hatred to this guy.
And that's what I said. I also think Triple H said, look, man, like what you just said, don't mention anything, don't mention all this, and you're gonna be making a lot of money with us. Like, that's what he said. That last promo, he was like, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. And that is true. He's gonna be making a hell of a lot of money, man. His merch is probably selling out right now. Come on now, everybody's coming out, like they're waiting for, like, Punk is in this situation where in a year, it's probably 6 months or probably a year die out. But right now in this year, people are waiting for, he's gonna do something wrong. He's gonna do something wrong. So doing something wrong is making him money. see make people thinking that he's gonna do something wrong is gonna be making him money. A lot of people like look what everybody was over there. Keys don't like him, but he was tuned in. Trav don't like him, but he was tuned in. Everybody doesn't like him, but he was tuned in. That's the thing that I'm telling you. He doesn't give a fuck about the 50 other people that don't like him. Because
yeah, you don't.
Right, and think about it, and it's strategic because Triple H could easily let Punk start the show off, and you know, say everybody would be like, all right. And I promise you, if he would have did that by the main event, people probably would have been watching. Nobody wants to see a main event of Dom versus Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? And like Henry Ant kept saying the whole night, like the crowd last night,
dead.
It made this show hard to watch. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't into it. They weren't chanting like they were supposed to. They wasn't getting me hyped at all.
I don't know if it was the crowd or if it was the audio from the beginning. That's why I said something from the beginning. Is it the audio or is it the crowd? Because it just
you talking about Raw?
Yeah, just raw. It felt a little raw. It felt a little off. But that's the thing. Then Trav starts saying, "Oh, it's because they don't want to see CM Punk. They don't like CM Punk joining." Does that even make sense? Does that even make some fucking sense? When CM Punk is at the last of the main pay-per-view, at the main event of Raw, not pay-per-view, at the main event of Raw, compared to the beginning. How can you say that they don't want to see Punk? If they didn't want to see Punk,
you know what? It did feel different. The energy was different because it's like, on one hand, you got everybody happy to see Randy return, but then you have CM Punk who returned, who you have people like, yo, we thought we'll never see him return, but then at the same time, you got a bunch of people in the locker room that voiced their displeasure for seeing him come back. The other thing is that I want to mention this real quick, is that don't be surprised, because even when Punk was cutting his promo, some people were booing him. Don't be surprised if all those chairs he got from Survivor Series and some of those chairs he got from Monday Night Raw slowly start to turn to boos. Slowly starts to turn to resentment, because the realization is going to hit people soon. Like, yo, all that change you talk about that should have been done or that could have happened could have been done if you would have did what John Cena did and stuck around. Because I guarantee you, the same displeasure he probably had was the same displeasure that John Cena had. And what John Cena did was he picked up the United States title and he had matches with other guys who was on the come up and had the best matches of his career because he did that.
But if you think about it, he mentioned that yesterday. He was like, I'm glad the voice has voices. And he was like, a wise man told me in order to get everything that I wanted and everything like that, I had to leave. I didn't want to leave, but I had to. And he said the person was absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? So he addressed the fact of why he left. He touched base on why he left. Now, granted, if the fans start booing him, cool, then it's easy. You turn him to a heel. You know what I'm saying? Then you take the chains off and let him say whatever he wants to say. Because, you know what I'm saying, last night it was more so he was able to say what he wanted about without no restrictions. Now, when you put him into a feud where he's, you know what I'm saying, he's kind of against somebody else, now if he's a heel, he can say whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying? So then you get the real CM Punk. You know, so you're not gonna get the baby face. Oh, I gotta watch what I say. I gotta smile. I gotta do all this CM Punk. You know what I'm saying?
Either way, he's gonna be a job. Either way, he's gonna make money. Either way, CM Punk, you know, his in ring. Like I said, I'm not a fan, but he's a safe wrestler. He knows he's not, he knows some stuff. I mean, does he have rust? AEW, he did have some rust in the ring, but that happens after 7 years of not working. But what he said, what you just said, it could be that they can start booing, or also it could be that it's gonna be like, okay, he wasn't the problem. It was really AEW the problem. And a lot of WWE fans are going to cheer him. Not wrestling fans. Like I said, a lot of WWE fans are going to start cheering him.
Yeah. And as I said a couple months ago, maybe it might have been even a year ago, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when Vince was still in charge, like WWE started to get stale. And I was like, no real, not really no, like WWE is not going to be able to sign big stars because of the Vince McMahon regime. You know what I'm saying? Now that Triple H is in charge and you see all these guys coming back and, you know what I'm saying, flourishing, now it's like, all right, now it brings the excitement back. You know what I'm saying? Because when Triple H first, I want to say his first, month in charge, he brought back all the people that we was like, you know what I'm saying, he's bringing excitement because he's bringing people back. You know what I'm saying? Re-signing guys that eventually go for no reason.
Well, we saw that
right.
it didn't work, but we saw it didn't work. Like
Not for
you know,
everybody.
Nah, I
it was just
mean,
it kind of worked. It kind of worked, but it's still people start saying, "Oh, it's boring again. Oh, it's boring again. Oh, it's boring again." What did he did? He
Well,
went back to his core. His core is, let's be
bro, Raw,
honest.
Raw started getting boring. SmackDown was always entertaining, and we looked forward to SmackDown because of the Bloodline storyline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Sammy.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
Raw,
will get that.
we was like, all right, well, Raw is getting whacked. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it picked up. You know what I'm saying? So when he said, all right, you know what? Let me change the dynamic of it. And I forgot which Raw it was, but after that, we was like, all right, Raw's actually good to watch now. We can actually start watching Raw.
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
Also,
guys.
hold on. Before I do, also, man, if this move was last minute, the signing was last minute. All you could blame is AEW. They try to go 3 hours with Survivor Series. That just poked the bear. That just made Triple H more petty.
Rampage, what's called 3 hours?
Yeah, it was going back to back with them. They were both live. So
Oh,
that's
Collision?
collision. So that was poking the bear. It was like, hey, let's go ahead, let's do it.
Nobody watch. Somebody watching no damn Collision.
Like,
Who
But
was watching Collision? They said that, man, a Survivor Series broke attendance. They broke attendance record. They broke viewer records. They broke social media records. Yo,
Triple H is petty though.
way.
Triple H is petty though. Triple H is petty. Triple H is petty. Triple H is petty. But no, at the end of the day, I think that signing was already written, man. CM Punk already gave the green light. Just Nick and Triple H were just thinking about it. Should we do it? Should we not do it? It makes sense. It really does make sense. He's a draw. Come on out.
Because there's no way that what I'm saying, that signing happened that day, and they got his graphic together, and I'm gonna post a picture that I saw. I think I screenshot it, but in CM Punk's like his entrance thing, or his entrance video on the side, they show reference to each of his logos that he's had throughout the year. So you trying to tell me that you trying to produce Survivor Series and obviously it's a busy day, so you got time to go and put all that together within a couple hours? Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely. Not an hour. Not an hour. It was already, it was already. If he just signed that Sunday, it was already in Triple H's head. They already talked about it with the managers of CM Punk's teams and stuff like that. Man, it's not. People think it's so easy. You gonna sign one day. You got to get the lawyers involved, the managers involved, your team. Come on now.
The fine paperwork, the cross the T's and dot the I's, as the old people would say.
And this is hold on. This is my victory lap, my last victory lap. This is I'm about to sign out too, but this is what I tell Trav. Trav said I was wrong in the beginning. No, brother. I was always right. Woo! I'm always right, man. But I'm out, man. The undisputed debate champion of the world.
Trav, man, you got to come back on, man, and have this debate with Henry, man. Y'all need to finish up. The big bad booty daddy.
I'm sorry, I can't do it like you. I tried.
Yeah.
He said Henry Thursday 9 o'clock, 9 p.m.
Yes, sir. We on a victory lap tour. Man. Thursday, catch me there with the Big Daddy Booty, whatever his name is, man. I always call him the House of the
Big Bad Booty Daddy. Big Bad Booty Daddy.
I'm the Big Bad Booty Daddy. I love that shit. Hey, but
yo, guys, we're gonna wrap up tonight. We thank you guys for joining us. If you guys are catching this live on Facebook, drop a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Facebook group. If you guys want to catch a replay of the live, go to our YouTube channel on YouTube, Wrestling Talks and Thoughts, where we have our lives posted. After every live, the live video should be up there. Also, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment in the comment section below after you watch the video. Give us your opinion. And join us every time we go live. When you subscribe, whenever we go live, you can tap on notify me when we go live, and you'll get the notification. All right, guys. Signing off. I'm your host, Saheem the Dream.
It's a protege, J Mac Main.
And I'm your undisputed debate champion of the world. And do say.
Whatchamacallit, Ant said he got us on a big screen at the bar. He said,
Hey,
hey, you at the bar
yeah.
right now? Take shots, baby. Take a few shots, baby.
Yeah.
Take a few shots. What he says, there are like 16 people watching. Word. If you guys are watching, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. You guys can catch us every time we go live. Get that notification, hit that subscription, baby. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel.
Hit that like button.
Right, hit that like button. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and you guys can catch us live. Your host, Saheem the Dream, your boy, J McMain, and your boy, Hem Duce, every time we go live. And the Big Bad Booty Daddy, every time we go live. We are signing out. We see you guys later. Peace.